information which is coming in, and this is okay, Supreme Court stays the conviction of Rahul Gandhi. That's the big news which is coming in. Ananya Bhatnagar has just got this news for us.
This is a big breaking news, yes.
A huge relief for Rahul Gandhi.
Alright, so we will just put this out for our viewers. Supreme Court has stayed the conviction of Rahul Gandhi. It's a big relief for Rahul Gandhi in the Modi surname defamation case is concerned. What has happened is the Supreme Court has decided to stay the conviction of Rahul Gandhi. So that disqualification from the Parliament also now can be taken away, and there you have it. The maximum sentence was given by a Surat court, which is now being stayed by the apex court of the country. Supreme Court there staying the conviction of Rahul Gandhi. Big relief for the Congress leader. Remember, this afternoon is when the Supreme Court had started hearing the Rahul Gandhi case, where it was challenging the Gujarat High Court's verdict that declined to put a hold on his conviction in the defamation case over the Modi surname remark. Earlier this year, Rahul Gandhi was disqualified as an MP for his comments that were linked to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, he had made those comments while he was in Gujarat 2 years ago, in 2019 in fact, and that defamation case was filed from I believe in Bihar, and that's where in Gujarat, and that's how the case really reached the Surat courts. And after
initially onwards that this is the maximum punishment to disqualify Rahul Gandhi from the Lok Sabha. Entire episode was started when Rahul Gandhi speak about Adani Modi relations in the Parliament. Now Supreme Court also, I think, in the interim judgment, granting stay, conviction stay, they also telling that this maximum punishment is actually something to disqualify.
Are you happy with that order, sir?
Definitely, you know that we are believing the legal procedure of this higher system. What we got from Gujarat, this is totally a different verdict.
सर सुप्रीम कोर्ट की ओर से आज जो राहत मिली है राहुल गांधी को, लंबे समय से कांग्रेस पार्टी मांग कर रही थी, क्या कहना है सर आज जो ये वर्डिक्ट आया है सुप्रीम कोर्ट का?
We will, our spokesperson will give details. Don't worry. Okay. First reaction is already we are welcoming this decision of stay of conviction.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, so that was the first reaction from...
My colleague Ananya is now joining us live from outside the court premises. Ananya, there's a big piece of news for Rahul Gandhi and the supporters of Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party. Next step is that he's going to be reinstated in the Parliament, but right for now, the apex court staying that conviction of Rahul Gandhi that was held by all the other courts, the Gujarat High Court and before that the Surat Court. Just take us through all of that that has happened inside the apex court today.
Well, definitely the Supreme Court had heard this matter for a long time today, and in fact for almost half the pre-lunch session. And very, very clearly now Rahul Gandhi has been granted that particular relief that he had been waiting for since court to court. This was his third appeal, if you remember. First it was rejected by the Gujarat Sessions Court and then by the High Court itself, and in fact the District Court had also refused to stay his conviction in that particular case, though a suspension of sentence was granted. But now finally that relief comes in for the former Congress president. Now what does it mean for Rahul Gandhi? Number one is that he can go back to the Lok Sabha Secretariat and say that, you know, since my conviction has now been stayed in this particular case, please reinstate me as a member of the Parliament. The people of Wayanad might be really happy because, you know, he was representing the people of Wayanad, and the voice of Wayanad would be back in the Parliament is what is the view, you know, in the general public. And also, very, very importantly, you know, Rahul Gandhi can now fight the 2024 elections. Very, very clearly, this is a big relief, a huge relief that Rahul Gandhi has been, you know, waiting for since the last few days. Though he had, on the political spectrum, he had used this opportunity to, you know, say, and in fact his Twitter bio also used to say that he was a disqualified MP. But now finally that disqualification can go away. He can go back to, in fact, you know, the Lok Sabha Secretariat, can ask the Speaker and the Lok Sabha chairman to actually say that, since my conviction has now been stayed, he can be reinstated as a member of the parliament in this particular case. So the major reason why, in fact, this conviction has been stayed by the court is that the trial judge, when he had sentenced Rahul Gandhi for 2 years of imprisonment in this particular case, had not given any kind of a reason as to why the maximum punishment in such a case was actually given to Rahul Gandhi. No particular reasoning except for a clear reason that, Supreme Court had abolished Rahul Gandhi in the Rafale case and had asked him to be more careful. But at the same point of time, apart from that reason, no further reasons were given for giving him a maximum punishment. And that's the reason why, in fact, the Supreme Court felt that, Rahul Gandhi should be granted this particular relief. And definitely, Supreme Court, but Deha, the Supreme Court also, while taking up this case and while recording the order in its, recording its order in this particular case, granting a stay on Rahul Gandhi, has clearly said that his statements were not in a good taste. They have recorded this particular part in their order, but have granted this relief to Rahul Gandhi.
All right, Ananya, thank you so much for all of that information. Big breaking news that's coming in out of the apex court of the country. So what is happening in camp Congress? Let me actually for that go to my colleague Sharon, who's joining us live. Sharon, I can see celebratory visuals behind you. Of course, this is a big relief for both the Congress party and of course Rahul Gandhi, who gets to go back to the parliament and also fight the next Lok Sabha elections.
Absolutely, a very upbeat mood at the Congress office. We have got the first reaction from the Congress. The General Secretary K.C. Venugopal says that this is a welcome move. As far as the order is concerned, they are welcoming it. So clearly, now Rahul Gandhi can fight the election, can go back to Parliament and go back to Parliament as well. You can see the mood at the AICC headquarters lawn. There are in fact workers who have joined in large number with the Congress flags here, saying Rahul Gandhi जिंदाबाद। कैसे देखते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो फैसला आया है, अब राहुल गांधी इलेक्शन लड़ सकते हैं, पार्लियामेंट वापस जा सकते हैं? देखिए जी, कांग्रेस पार्टी देश की न्यायपालिका में विश्वास रखती है। आज जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिखाया है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ही सर्वोपरि है, तो इस फैसले का सम्मान करती है कांग्रेस पार्टी और ये राहुल गांधी जी की जीत है। राहुल गांधी जी ने कहा है आप डरो मत, आप लड़ो, तो कांग्रेस का हर कार्यकर्ता सड़क पे आके अपने हक की लड़ाई लड़ेगा और ये कांग्रेस पार्टी कार्यकर्ताओं की जीत है, राहुल गांधी जी की जीत है। You can see the celebration is in fact going on here. There are placards and also flags of Congress party. Apart from that, there are in fact masks of Rahul Gandhi that is being worn by the supporters who have in fact gathered over here. All of them welcoming the Supreme Court order. Right, Sharon, I'll come back to you. Let me actually take this across to our managing editor Zaka Jacob, who's also joining us live from the newsroom at CNN News 18. Zaka, this is a big victory for the Congress party. The case was in the apex court, even though the court has in fact said that the statement that was made by Rahul Gandhi was not in good taste. However, the maximum sentence that a defamation case can attract cannot really be given to him, and hence the stay of sentence. This is a big news for Congress.
Absolutely, and the reason why that stay of conviction was important is because unless he got a stay on the conviction, then he cannot go back to the Speaker of the House, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, and ask him to be reinstated as Member of Parliament. What is also interesting is, my understanding is the Election Commission has yet not notified the by-election for the Wayanad Lok Sabha constituency. So it will be interesting to see, A, what the Speaker will decide, whether the Speaker, basis today's Supreme Court judgment, will find grounds enough to reinstate Rahul Gandhi as a Member of Parliament, or whether, in the interim, before the Speaker makes his decision, whether the Election Commission will go ahead and notify the by-election to the Wayanad Lok Sabha constituency. If that notification from the Election Commission does come through, then that means that Rahul Gandhi will have to contest elections again and win again and come back as Member of Parliament. But like I said, the first legal hurdle which needed to be cleared by the Congress leader, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, was to get a stay on his conviction that was given first by the lower court and then that was upheld by the Gujarat High Court in this Modi defamation case. The Supreme Court has made the observation that yes, what he said was not in good taste, and that people occupying high public office should refrain from using such words. The court has indeed said that in its order, but what it has also said is it is staying the conviction because it finds no grounds for giving the maximum possible sentence, which is 2 years, in a defamation case to Rahul Gandhi, and vide this stay on conviction. This now presents the opportunity to Rahul Gandhi to go back to the Speaker's office. Remember, the disqualification as a Member of Parliament was done by the Speaker's office basis the district court order, the lower court order in Gujarat. The Speaker's office now has to take the decision on whether basis the stay they can reinstate Rahul Gandhi as a Member of Parliament. But like I said, one other important factor to watch out for would be the Election Commission's notification, if it does indeed come out with a notification for a by-election in Wayanad. Karti Chidambaram, Congress leader, is now joining us, Member of Parliament, on the phone line. Karti, thank you very much. This is Zaka Jacob here. Your first reaction to the decision by the Supreme Court to stay Mr. Gandhi's conviction. What does this mean? Does this pave the way for him to come back as Member of Parliament?
We always knew that the Supreme Court will render justice. The ruling of the trial court was excessive. The endorsement of the High Court was bizarre. And this was a reverse engineered case. This should have never reached this stage. And I'm very, very glad that the Supreme Court has rendered justice. Yes, this paves the way for Mr. Rahul Gandhi to come back to Parliament. I hope the Speaker will not delay the process and Mr. Rahul Gandhi will be back in Parliament on Monday. And there is a precedence to this for the Member of Parliament from Lakshadweep who went through a similar process and his membership was restored. And I hope this will be done in quicker time.
But, Karti, don't you reckon that this will now put the ball back in the Speaker's court, and the Speaker has to decide, because ultimately the sort of disqualification of his membership as MP came from the Speaker's office?
No. It did not come from the Speaker's office. There is no conviction, so the membership is restored. There is a legal precedent. The member from Lakshadweep went through a similar exercise just a few months ago. So, in fact, the Speaker, if he is going to delay, will again have to knock the doors of the Supreme Court. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope that Rahul Gandhi will be back in Parliament on Monday morning.
But why do you say that process is almost automatic, as you suggest, that once you get a stay on conviction, then it automatically he has to come back as Member of Parliament?
Exactly. There is a legal precedent to it. The member from Lakshadweep went through a similar process. Once his conviction was stayed and he wrote to the Speaker to restore his membership, the Speaker delayed. He went to the Supreme Court, but before the Supreme Court could hear it, the Speaker's office restored his membership. The Lok Sabha Secretariat of the Speaker restored his membership. So that must be done now. If they delay it, we'll go back to the Supreme Court. It's only a matter, we'll get a ruling in our favor. It's very, very clear. So I hope the Speaker would spare himself. I hope the Speaker will spare himself the embarrassment of getting a Supreme Court order directing him to restore the membership of Mr. Rahul Gandhi.
I also want to get your reaction before I let you go on what the court also said. It opined in today's judgment that people occupying high public offices, in this case Mr. Gandhi, should not use such language. That's been said in the court's order.
I'm not sure whether that's part of the order or whether it's obiter dictum, but Mr. Rahul Gandhi is an experienced person in public life. He will take the well-meaning advice of the Supreme Court to heart, and he knows the import of his words. And I'm sure that he will take that into consideration in the future.
All right. Karti Chidambaram, many thanks for joining us, Member of Parliament there from Sivagangai in Tamil Nadu, giving us his thoughts on Rahul Gandhi, his conviction in the defamation matter, in him using the surname Modi in that defamation matter. That conviction has now been stayed by the Supreme Court. This will now pave the way for Mr. Gandhi to be reinstated as a Member of Parliament. Karti Chidambaram there is of the view that this is almost near automatic and that the Speaker and the Lok Sabha Secretariat have no role, have no choice but to reinstate Mr. Gandhi as a Member of Parliament, and that he should be back in Parliament as early as Monday. But we haven't heard from the Speaker's office or from the Lok Sabha Secretariat yet. My understanding is there is still the procedural sort of delay or the procedure that needs to be gone with, and that is to move the Speaker's office asking for the revocation or the lifting of the disqualification of Rahul Gandhi as a Member of Parliament. All right. Who do we have on the line?
Right.
All right, we have some reactions from top Supreme Court lawyers after today's decision by the Supreme Court. Let's listen in.
मोदी एक फैमिली को, और पुनोज मोदी ने जो मैटर डाला है वो खुद मोदी नहीं है बल्कि एक गुटका परिवार से आते हैं, जो कि ट्रायल कोर्ट में ये बात उन्होंने एडमिट करी है। उन्होंने सारा पढ़ के सुनाया कि पैरा नंबर ये वॉल्यूम इस पे यहाँ पर इन्होंने अपने आप को ये एडमिट किया है। एक तो ये मोदी परिवार से नहीं आते, ये बनता नहीं है केस। सेकंड, ये मैक्सिमम सेंटेंस हुआ है ट्रायल कोर्ट से, हाई कोर्ट से, यहाँ पर स्टे हो गया है। अपील में दोबारा से जो आगे चल के जो आर्गुमेंट होगा, चलेगा केस, फिलहाल अभी स्टे कर दिया गया है और राहुल गांधी की सदस्यता बहाल कर दी गई है। अब वो पार्लियामेंट में देखे जाएंगे।
कानूनी विकल्प सारे खत्म हो गए सर? अब
नहीं, अभी तो ट्रायल होगा, अपील के चलेगा। फिलहाल हाई कोर्ट से उन्होंने सेंटेंस को स्टे कर दिया है।
अब राहुल गांधी की संसद सदस्यता
बहाल हो गई है, ऑर्डर हो गया, सुप्रीम ऑर्डर कर दिया, स्टे दे दिया है।
तो अब जो औपचारिक आदेश आता है लोकसभा की ओर से,
हाँ,
तो वो आदेश कब तक आ जाना चाहिए? क्योंकि इस पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का पहले का आदेश है लक्षद्वीप के जो सांसद थे फैजल साहब, उनके मामले में
इमीडिएट होगा।
मानसून सत्र में राहुल गांधी
बिल्कुल मानसून सत्र में होगा, बिल्कुल होगा।
मानसून सत्र में अब राहुल गांधी जाएंगे संसद?
बिल्कुल जाएंगे, आपको देखे जाएंगे, इसी सत्र में देखे जाएंगे जब सुप्रीम।
We can now go across to Mr. Sachin Pilot, Congress leader from Rajasthan. Thank you very much, Sachin. Zaka here. Your first reaction to the Supreme Court staying the conviction of Rahul Gandhi?
That, I think it's a testament to our judiciary that the Honorable Supreme Court has given this ruling. It also goes to show that the entire time the Congress party and Mr. Gandhi insisted on the fact that we have full faith in our judicial system. And this case, that was the first time in 100 odd years that a defamation case was given a full sentence and disqualification was to follow. But the Supreme Court's verdict today has really will be remembered for a long time in the way, despite all the things that were said and perhaps some other politics involved in it, but the courts have lived up to their reputation and it has again restored the great faith that we have in our judicial system.
Do you believe now the ball is in the Speaker's court, because it was the Speaker's office, the Lok Sabha Secretariat, that actually disqualified him as a Member of Parliament, and this paves the way for him to approach the Speaker again to reinstate his membership?
I think the Honourable Speaker is also bound by what the court has now said. I don't want to go into how hastily the disqualification was done, how it's vacated. It smacked of political interference, but I will not go that far. I think the Speaker will certainly do what is rightful, what needs to be done. And the Supreme Court's verdict today, I think, is certainly showing a mirror to all those who felt that they can circumvent our systems and get their political objectives fulfilled without following due course of law. Because this case per se, the merits of this case have shown that it was hastily done. The lower courts were perhaps not right in their wisdom to have given the conviction that they did. And Supreme Court has finally shown what ought to be the way forward for all of us.
I also want a quick word from you on what the court has also opined today in its order, where it said that people occupying high public offices like Mr. Gandhi should refrain from using such language.
Again, I won't comment on the wordings of what the court has said, but I think that holds true for all of us. But Mr. Gandhi and all of us have clarified that this was not against any individual per se. But public discourse, by and large, I think needs to maintain certain standard of discourse, and that's appreciable. But the conviction and the lower courts, high courts, etc., acting in a way that perhaps was not prudent, the court has certainly shown us the way. I think the Supreme Court's verdict is a great welcome step for the future.
Are you hopeful that he'll be able to join as early as next week and perhaps even take part in the no confidence debate in Parliament?
I don't know what happened, but I think the Speaker now must act just about as hastily as he did when the other conviction came about, because now the Speaker also has to abide by what the court has said. So any undue delay in the action by the Speaker will again not send the right message. So I think the Speaker should immediately take cognizance of the Supreme Court verdict, read the judgment, act immediately and accordingly.
All right, Sachin Pilot, thank you so much for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. So Sachin Pilot, Congress leader, also of the view that the ball is now in the Speaker's court and the Speaker has to quickly act to revoke Mr. Gandhi's membership of Parliament. He was disqualified basis the trial court's order from Gujarat. The Lok Sabha Secretariat, in fact, disqualified him as a member of Parliament basis that order. That order has now been stayed. The conviction has been stayed. And this is the first legal hurdle that Mr. Gandhi had to cross so that he can go back to the Speaker's office and ask for the revocation of his membership, or at least the reinstatement of his membership, which was revoked by the Speaker. How soon that process will conclude, we don't know. Whether it will happen in a way that Mr. Gandhi can come back to Parliament by next week, perhaps even take part in the no confidence debate, which I believe is slated for the 9th and 10th of August. That is going to be next week. So I think it will be a critical factor. Timing will also be a critical factor. Whether the Speaker has options, to sit on this decision, to not decide, or to send it up to his legal offices for further consultations, that we'll have to wait and check. But clearly, every Congress leader that we've spoken to in the last 15 minutes or so is of the view that the Speaker must forthwith act on today's decision by the Supreme Court and reinstate Mr. Rahul Gandhi as a Member of Parliament. But clearly, this is a big victory politically for the Congress party and for Mr. Rahul Gandhi, legally as well, because the Supreme Court has stayed his conviction. It has also chided the lower court for giving the maximum possible sentence. The sentence was of 2 years imprisonment. The maximum possible sentence was given in a defamation case. So the Supreme Court has also not minced any words on that.